Let's talk about what's going on in France with Macron and this really odd and strange decision that Macron has decided to take regarding travel in Air France. Now, Macron has gone through the EU bureaucracy and has secured a 4 billion euro bailout of Air France. Air France is suffering mostly due to the fact that all travel has been suspended because of the you know what. But at the same time that he secured this 4 billion euro bailout of Air France, Macron has also decided to pass legislation saying that Air France will no longer do short haul flights. In other words, it won't fly anywhere that is under 2.5 hours. And he is basically forcing everybody that wants to travel using Air France a distance that is under 2.5 hours to use the rail train. And he's doing this, at least he's saying he's doing this for climate control reasons. And RT has this story here about Macron. And it's really just goes to show how these guys are just so messed up, these EU leaders and these EU regulations and stipulations as you work to get bailouts that they start putting other stuff to offset that bailout or to force you to take some other type of ideological action, woke action. And in this case, in order for Macron to secure the bailout of Air France, he had to move forward with this 2.5 hour restriction for Air France as well. And at first they wanted, I think it was 4 hours or 5 hours restrictions, but he managed to get it down to 2.5 hours. So I guess from now on, if you want to fly under 2.5 hours in France, you're out of luck. You're going to have to take the train. I like taking the train. I love traveling by train, but there are many times where I just want to get to the destination as quickly as possible. I can see many use cases for this. The first that comes to mind is business travelers. Say you have business meetings or you just want to spend the day, go in the morning, leave at night. Many times you can't do that with the train. You want to take, a 30, 40 minute, 50-minute plane ride to a nearby city, get there in the morning, do your business, get your meetings in, and then come back in the afternoon. So I guess now that's all gone. And so you're saving Air France, while at the same time you're destroying Air France. Good job, Macron. And in this article, which has the title Macron's randomly picked climate board acts as 1/10 domestic flights after 4 billion Air France bailout. This is a French farce. And this article highlights how schizophrenic this decision is. The first paragraph says, after splurging on billions to save the airline, the French president has banned any flights on journeys that can be made in 2.5 hours by train at the behest of a citizens' climate convention he set up to pacify the green lobby. So this is all about, supposedly this 2.5 hour thing is all about the green lobby and climate change. The EU that gave him the bailout money, that approved the bailout money, put this requirement on Macron. Of course, he went along with it. The new funding, so the 4 billion is on top of more than 10 billion in state loans already paid to the company around this time last year. Air France KLM is now nearly 30% owned by the French state. And the people should be up in arms about the decision to scrap a number of domestic routes covering Paris, Lyon, Bordeaux, Marseille, on the recommendation of the unelected Citizens Convention on Climate and some non-too-subtle arm-twisting last year from the European Commission, just as their taxes are being poured into saving the business. So freaking stupid. So dumb. Dumb. This is expected to affect 1 in 10 domestic flights. Domestic French flights, 1 in 10. Wow. Yeah, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. The government faces a paradox of its own creation, using taxpayer money to fund a business that it is simultaneously targeting with legislation to limit its ability to make a buck. A true French farce. What else does this article say? Somewhere in here it said that they wanted 4 or 5 hours to be banned, but he got it down to 2.5. Macron's excellent negotiation skills. He got it down to 2.5. Yeah. In practice, however, there was a slight issue in that the Citizens' Convention wanted to ban domestic flights of 4 hours or less. But government ministers managed to convince otherwise, and it was agreed after all the legislation would use the rail journey time of less than 2.5 hours. Yeah. As usual with funding from the European Commission, there are always strings attached. And this time Macron agreed to the conditions, no doubt realizing he could color it all as a brilliant green initiative for those randomly selected climate nerds to whom he had promised parliamentary debate for their unfiltered proposals contained in the report released last June. A win-win, yeah. Okay, so the European Commission, this climate convention group, they wanted to do this climate stuff. In France, no more flights for 2.5 hours. For 4 hours, he got it done to 2.5. Then he got 4 billion on top of 10 billion to pour into bailing out Air France. So as he bails it out with taxpayer money, he's also killing the airline. Of course, competition. From what I understand here, competition will have no problem, but I'm positive, as night follows day, that eventually France will even the playing field, and they'll say no airlines who travel in France, who service France, can have a route that's under 2.5 hours. I'm sure they'll do that. And they'll level the playing field, and then everyone's just going to pack onto trains. It'll be a nightmare. It'll be a mess. Train travel will get worse. Airlines will go bust. Air France will go bust. All that taxpayer money lost. And there you have it. So with elections coming up in about a year's time, Macron is not doing himself any favors. So that's an interesting story, guys. And I think it just shows how the European Union has just grown into this massive blob, this incredibly big, inefficient orb, which is just full of regulations and full of paper and pencil pushers who have nothing better to do than justify their income, justify their massive salaries by coming up with these bonehead restrictions and bonehead ideas. And of course, they work hand in glove with these climate change zealots, these ideologists, these religious fanatics, and that's what they are, religious fanatics who come up with these ideas. The best thing that they can do if they really want to help the climate is, let's start with private plane travel. How about that? How about we ground Leonardo DiCaprio's planes or John Kerry's planes? How about we start with that? And then we can work our way towards Air France, a company which provides a lot of employment to a lot of people. And it is the national carrier of France. It's a shame that it's going to go down this route towards insolvency. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some mugs, help out this demonetized channel. There's the mug right there. This is the flag of Cyprus on this magic mug, but you can find all kinds of flags. Take care.